In a dramatic turn of events, the Canadian government has compelled Air Canada and its striking flight attendants to return to work and enter arbitration. A move that comes in the wake of a work stoppage that has left over 100,000 travelers stranded globally during the bustling summer travel season. This intervention, announced on Saturday, underscores the government's concern about the potential economic risks posed by the ongoing strike, especially given the unprecedented tariffs imposed by the United States on Canadian goods. Federal Jobs Minister Patty Hajdu emphasized that the current economic climate does not allow for any risks, stating, "Now is not the time to take risks with the economy." This decision means that the approximately 10,000 flight attendants will soon be required to resume their duties. The government's action was swift, occurring less than 12 hours after the workers initiated their strike. The talks broke down. It is clear that the parties are not any closer to resolving some of the key issues that remain, and they will need help with the arbitrator, Hajdu explained, highlighting the urgency of the situation. However, she also noted that the full restoration of services could take several days, as the timeline is now in the hands of the Canada Industrial Relations Board. In a strong response, Wesmi Lasowski, president of the Air Canada component of the Canadian Union of Public Employees, CUPE, accused the government of infringing upon the flight attendants' constitutional right to strike. He criticized Hajdu for her rapid intervention, suggesting that it rewarded Air Canada's unwillingness to engage in fair negotiations. The Liberal government is rewarding Air Canada's refusal to negotiate fairly by giving them exactly what they wanted, Lasowski stated. Air Canada has not provided further comments since the announcement, but Chief Operating Officer Mark Nazar previously indicated that it might take up to a week to fully resume operations. As a result, travelers can expect ongoing disruptions in the days ahead. The strike, which began early Saturday, has already affected around 130,000 individuals daily, with estimates suggesting that approximately 25,000 Canadians may find themselves stranded. Air Canada typically operates around 700 flights each day, and by Saturday afternoon, the airline had canceled a staggering 671 flights, following 199 cancellations on Friday. Additionally, 96 flights scheduled for Sunday were already suspended. In response to the crisis, Hajdu has instructed the Canada Industrial Relations Board to extend the current collective agreement until a new one is established through arbitration. Canadians rely on air travel every day, and its importance cannot be understated, she remarked, emphasizing the critical nature of air travel in the country. Union spokesperson Hugh Pulley was unable to confirm when workers would return to their posts, stating, "We're on the picket lines until further notice." The conflict escalated on Friday when the union rejected Air Canada's request to enter into government-directed arbitration, which would involve a third-party mediator determining the terms of a new contract. Flight attendants officially walked off the job around 1 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, coinciding with Air Canada's announcement that it would begin locking flight attendants out of airports. Ian Lee, an associate professor at Carleton University's Sprott School of Business, noted that government intervention in transportation strikes is not uncommon. Last year, the government similarly forced the two major railroads in Canada into arbitration during a work stoppage, a move that has since led to legal action from the Rail Workers Union, which argues that such government actions diminish a union's negotiating power. The Business Council of Canada had advocated for binding arbitration in this situation as well, and the Canadian Chamber of Commerce expressed support for the government's intervention. Matthew Holmes, the executive vice president for the Chamber of Commerce, stated, "With valuable cargo grounded and passengers stranded, the government made the right decision to refer the two sides to binding arbitration," adding that nearly 1 million Canadians and international visitors could be affected if Air Canada takes a week to return to full operations. Hajdu defended her government's actions, asserting that they are not anti-union, but rather a necessary step given the impasse between the two parties. Passengers whose flights have been affected will be able to request full refunds through Air Canada's website or mobile app. The airline also mentioned that it would explore alternative travel options with other Canadian and international airlines when feasible, although it cautioned that immediate rebooking might not be possible due to high demand during the summer travel peak. Many travelers have voiced their frustration regarding Air Canada's handling of the strike. Jean-Nicolas Reit, a 42-year-old associate professor at McGill University, expressed his anxiety about his upcoming flight from France, stating, "What's stressful is to not hear anything from Air Canada." He noted that he had only received one email warning of potential disruptions, but had not received any further updates as of Saturday evening. Jennifer McDonald from Halifax, Nova Scotia, shared a similar sentiment, recounting her efforts to assist her brother and cousin in returning home to Edmonton after their Air Canada flight was cancelled during a layover in Montreal. They incurred additional expenses for a hotel and struggled to find rebooking options, ultimately deciding to book a new flight for August 22nd. Despite the stress of the situation, McDonald expressed solidarity with the flight attendants, stating, "We hope that Air Canada lifts the lockout and negotiates fairly." Following the government's announcement of forced arbitration, Reit also expressed concern for the flight attendants, stating, "I think the flight attendants are making some reasonable arguments," and he hoped the intervention would not serve to silence their voices. Air Canada and the Canadian Union of Public Employees have been engaged in contract negotiations for approximately 8 months. Yet, they remain far apart on critical issues such as pay and the unpaid work that flight attendants perform when planes are not in the air. Natasha Stay, an Air Canada flight attendant and local union president, expressed the union's frustration, saying, "We are heartbroken for our passengers. Nobody wants to see Canadians stranded or anxious about their travel plans. But we cannot work for free." Stay pointed out that the flight attendants are predominantly women and questioned the fairness of their treatment compared to Air Canada pilots, who received significant raises last year. The airline's latest proposal included a 38% increase in total compensation over 4 years, which Air Canada claimed would make their flight attendants the best compensated in the country. However, the union countered that the proposed 8% raise in the first year was insufficient given the current inflation rates.